Bruce Lee is the most eminent martial artist in the modern world. He became a role model for numerous martial artists. He has already inspired many people from Eastern to Western cultures in his relatively short life. Aside from his martial arts, Bruce was also renowned for his philosophical quotes, inspiring many people. In today's video, we will travel back to learn some facts about the little dragon, his early life, his philosophy, and how he inspired others. Lee Junfan was born on November 27, 1940, at the Jackson Street Hospital in San Francisco, United States. According to Chinese belief, he was born in the hour of the dragon, between 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., and he was born in the year of the dragon as well. His English name Bruce was given by the nurse in the Jackson Street Hospital, but Lee only used this name once he entered secondary school and started studying English. 3 months later, his parents, Lee Hoi Chen, Grace Ho, and baby Bruce, returned to Hong Kong, where he was raised until he was 18. In Hong Kong, Bruce was introduced to the entertainment industry at an early age. This was because his father was an opera singer and a part-time actor. Bruce was already featured as an infant in the 1941 Golden Gate Girl movie. According to IMDb, by age 20, he had already starred in 20 movie titles. In 1953, at 13, Bruce was introduced to Master Yip Man, a master in the Wing Chun style of Kung Fu. He studied this particular style of Kung Fu for 5 years. He trained diligently and became very proficient. He mentioned Yip Man as a master teacher and a wise man. In the later years, Bruce was known to visit him frequently. Aside from martial arts, surprisingly, Bruce was also mastering dance moves. In his teenage life, he took dance lessons and studied dance as diligently as he learned Kung Fu. He kept a notebook in which he noted 108 different cha-cha steps. The steps further refined his footwork and balance. In 1958, Bruce won the Hong Kong Cha-Cha Championship. Before winning the dance competition, Bruce had already won the Hong Kong School Boxing Tournament, where he knocked out the previous champion in the final. Having experiences in martial arts and dance, teenage Bruce's life became reckless. Bruce reportedly collides in several street fighting and run-ins with the police and has not progressed academically. Once he even included beating the son of a feared triad family. Feeling annoyed and disturbed, his parents sent Bruce, with only $100 in his pocket, back to San Francisco, United States. Shortly after living in San Francisco, Bruce decided to move to Seattle, where he lived with his family friend, Ruby Chow. Ruby owned a restaurant and promised Bruce a job and living quarters. In Seattle, Bruce enrolled and received his diploma at Edison Technical School. He continued to enroll at the University of Washington and took philosophy as his major. Some reports from the university's alum publication later stated that he majored in drama, not philosophy. While in university, Bruce supported himself by teaching Kung Fu and opened his first martial arts school. One of his students was Linda Emery, who married Bruce in 1964. After getting married, Bruce and Linda decided to move to Oakland. At this point, Bruce was already left behind his acting career and focused on martial arts as his primary profession. Shortly after his move to Oakland, Bruce was challenged by some Kung Fu men from San Francisco, who objected to Bruce's teaching non-Chinese students. Bruce accepted the challenge, and they said that if Bruce was defeated, he could no longer teach non-Chinese students. The fight was short, and the opponent gave up after Bruce pinned him on the floor. But Bruce, with all of his mastery in martial arts, felt disheartened after being unable to defeat his opponent in less than 3 minutes. This was where Bruce developed his Kung Fu technique, the Jeet Kune Do, or the way of intercepting fist. The method was a mixture of ancient Kung Fu, fencing, boxing, and philosophy. Shortly after, he was invited to Long Beach to give a demonstration at First International Karate Tournament. One of the audience members, Jay Sebring, acquainted with a film producer, witnessed the protests and told the producer about Bruce. The producer, William Dozer, invited Bruce to Los Angeles for a screen test. He then got cast in a television series, The Green Hornet, as the sidekick, Kato. Having a comeback in his acting career made Bruce falter. At one point, he wanted to continue opening martial arts schools, but the acting career, which he had had since he was an infant, also looked promising. Bruce decided to focus on his acting career, pursuing his love of martial arts differently. Another reason why he chose to act was simply that he feared if his schools became numerous, his teaching quality would be decreased. His love of martial arts, kung fu, and his students was enormous, and he wanted to maintain the quality with which he approached it. After one season of The Green Hornet, the show was canceled. Bruce still appeared in a few films while he began teaching his martial arts technique, Jeet Kune Do, to some Hollywood stars. Among Bruce's private students were Steve McQueen, James Coburn, Sterling Silliphant, Ted Ashley, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and more. In 1970, Bruce sustained an injury to the fourth sacral nerve. This was because he was exercising without warming up first, which he usually did, and he picked up a 125-pound barbell. For 6 months, he was told to have complete bed rest. For Bruce, this was highly frustrating, depressing, and painful. After he instituted his recovery program, he began to walk again. After gaining strength, he moved back to Hong Kong. Knowing Bruce was coming back, one Hong Kong producer, Raymond Chow, contacted Bruce and persuaded Bruce to do 2 films with him. Agreed to do it. After arriving in Hong Kong, he flew to Thailand, making The Big Boss, later renowned for Fists of Fury. The working conditions were difficult, and the quality standards needed to be better than Bruce was accustomed to. But the film was a huge success. The second movie of the contractual films, Fist of Fury, was even more of an enormous success than the previous one. The sequel broke all-time box office records. After receiving good results from both films, Bruce Lee and Raymond Chow partnered to make a new film.
Oh, here's a plane ticket. Just go back to Hong Kong for a few years. You wouldn't want any trouble.
The Way of the Dragon. In the film, Bruce wasn't only a cast, but he was also the writer, the director, and the producer. And just like the previous 2 films they made together, The Way of the Dragon also broke records. And even better, it was noticed by Hollywood. In 1972, a turning point for Hong Kong's film industry began. Bruce Lee and Warner Brothers president Ted Ashley made a deal. They agreed to make a film together titled Enter the Dragon. This was the first joint venture between Hong Kong and US-based production companies. And just like Bruce's previous films, this film became a worldwide hit. Sadly, Bruce never saw the opening of his film. 2 weeks before the film's premiere, Bruce had a minor headache. He was offered a pain pill called Equagesic. After consuming the pill, he laid down, then lapsed into a coma. He was unable to revive. Numerous renowned pathologists flew worldwide to examine the cause of his premature death. After a few days of coroner's inquest, the results stated that Bruce had a hypersensitive reaction to an ingredient in the pain medication that caused a swelling of the fluid on his brain, resulting in his coma and death. After his death, his film gained large followers. Bruce became one of the biggest stars of the 20th century, and he is always credited with changing the way Asians were presented in American films. One of his famous philosophical quotes is frequently mentioned today. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless like water. You put water into a cup, it becomes a cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it into a teapot, it becomes a teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend. That's the story of Bruce Lee, one of the biggest pop culture icons in history. Are you a Bruce Lee fan? Have you ever heard about his story? Or do you have anything to add about his life? Please share it with us in the comments section below. And remember to press like and subscribe.